Yeah, I grew up out in Long Island, and it was an unusual situation where the high schools there, as opposed to out here in Pennsylvania, where each township has their own high school. There, they combine the high schools. So typically, for instance, in the suburbs of Pennsylvania or Philadelphia, each class might be anywhere from 100 to 125, sometimes even less than that for graduating classes. Where I went to high school, we combined like 8 towns. So my graduating class was 1,500 people. We grew up with everybody, all different types of nationalities, all different types of backgrounds, from poor to wealthy, from all different countries, different nationalities, different religions, and it was really a great experience. And that translated well when I went out to Penn State, because as we know, Penn State is a huge institution as well, where they might have 40,000 kids up there for undergraduate. You have to have that experience culturally in order to get along in a city like Philadelphia, to mesh with the people of Philadelphia. You can't be one-track minded. And the skills, the experience that I had growing up, it made the transition into Philadelphia seamless. After I graduated law school, and then I was a prosecutor out in Berks County, out in Reading, for 2 years. Prosecuted there for 2 years, which was a great experience of trying cases, putting really bad guys into jail for a long period of time, and helping keep the city of Reading safe. Great experience for trial work, which translated well into when I moved to the Philadelphia area more than 25 years ago. First started out in the suburbs, but now I live in Center City. But when I was in the suburbs of Philadelphia, raised my kids out there, they went to school out there. They now live in Philadelphia and have attended schools in Philadelphia too. You know, I've been in Philadelphia for more than 20 years, and it's been my home, and I love it. And I live in Center City, and I would not imagine living anywhere else. And you know, when you hear about other lawyers and you don't know where they're from, you know, I know Philly, I know the neighborhoods of Philly, and a lot of times you have some lawyers that come into town and they don't know the neighborhoods. And it makes a huge difference. You know, when you're handling a case, whether it be a car accident or a slip and fall, and you're talking to the adjuster about where the accident happened and the type of neighborhood, you know, how the sidewalks are, how the intersections are, and how people drive in Philly. It's important to know those things, you know, and you only get that from being in Philly, driving around in Philly, being in the neighborhoods, talking to people from the neighborhoods, and getting a feel for where you live. You can't just pick that up overnight by putting up a billboard and trying to be an attorney in Philly, and if you're not. You have to really feel the neighborhoods and feel where you are. My office is right across the street from the courthouse, which is in City Hall. And that's very important, obviously, because a lot of times we have to go to City Hall for court appearances, go have a meeting with a judge, settlement conference, and having that access to City Hall is just, you know, we can get there if a judge has a call and says, you know, we'd like to speak with you about a particular case. We can get there in 5 minutes. We're not outside Montgomery County, where it might take an hour and a half to get into the city, depending upon the school. And we're not up in Bucks County, we can take 2 hours to get into the city, depending upon 95. You know, we found that being across the street from City Hall means a lot. The judges know that we're across from City Hall, and the other attorneys know that we're here as well. A lot of them that work for the insurance companies have their offices in this area too. And so they know that we're committed to being in Philadelphia and representing people of Philadelphia and handling cases in Philadelphia. And it doesn't look like we're just a suburban firm or outside the city trying to pretend that we have a Philadelphia presence. No, we're here, and this is where we are. So as part of my career, getting to where that I'm at now in representing, you know, plaintiffs or injured victims in accidents, I had a period of time where I had represented the insurance companies. So I was on the exact opposite side of where I'm at now. But that experience has been really immeasurable when it comes to my practice now and what we do for our clients. But I had represented the insurance companies, so what that means is that if you're in an accident, I represented the person that hit you. In that process, I got to learn and experience how the insurance companies view cases and how they attack cases and how they evaluate cases and how they sometimes will try and litigate it for extended periods of time. And I can tell you that sometimes, or many times, when I get a case, I know right away how the insurance company is going to handle it. And I know it even before the adjuster has gotten through that file. And they even formulated a plan. I know exactly what they're going to do because I've been on that side for a long time. So oftentimes when we get a new case and we talk with our client, we talk with any witnesses, we view the accident scene, we get the police report, same thing for a trip and fall, same thing for any type of injury case, and we do our initial evaluation and investigation. I already know how the insurance company is going to attack this case and the plan that they're going to formulate and what they're going to do with regard to their strategy in trying to defend our case. As I mentioned before, I had been a prosecutor out in Reading. And as a prosecutor, what it does, if you're not familiar with it, is that you're representing victims of crimes. So whether it be an assault, someone is a victim of a robbery or a burglary, or even getting beaten up at a bar, they are the victim. And the prosecutor's office, which is where I was at, we would prosecute the defendant for committing those crimes against the victim. And I felt very compassionate about representing victims of crimes because they were, in essence, helpless in those situations. And they relied upon us to get them justice, to get them restitution, and get them a feeling of, I got back at what was taken from me by the defendant. It was very moving for me to represent these victims of these crimes and that were somewhat limited in how they can get their recourse. And that translated well into doing the personal injury work because, my clients, and we've represented thousands of people from Philadelphia that are victims of car accidents or involved in slip and falls or other injury cases, thousands in Philadelphia. But they are, in essence, also helpless victims of a situation that they didn't ask for. They didn't ask to get broadsided in an intersection. They didn't ask to get rear-ended and then have to endure, months of treatment, many months of treatment, injections, surgeries, and even death. We've handled many death cases as well. So moving on into representing victims of personal injury was a natural transition from being in the prosecutor's office. And quite frankly, I enjoy when we are able to get my clients compensation for their injuries, and they are extremely happy and satisfied with the result. Because we know that in this city and outside the city, there are hundreds of attorneys that our clients can choose from. And when they come to us to represent them for their situations, we take that very serious that they've chosen us. And we put in 110%, maintain constant client communication with our clients, keep them up to date with what their case is, the status is, what's going on with their case. And we're not one of these lawyers who, once the client signs up with us, we forget about them and try and move on to the next sign up. It's the opposite. When we sign up a client, we make sure that we give them the personal attention on their case that they would expect and that we would expect as a client as well. And that's where we strive to meet the expectations of the client. And quite frankly, we get a lot of referrals from prior clients who will refer to us, their brothers, sisters, parents, and cousins, because they know and they're putting their word on the line by referring us because they know how we handled their case. And they know and expect that we will do the same for their family members who they referred us to.